Hi, grade 3. How are you? Fine? For today, inshallah, we'll talk about celebrate culture. It's lesson 5, page 88. In this lesson, we will talk about culture. What about your culture? It means your what? Your language, food, clothing, customs, literature, art, and beliefs. All of these things under the word of culture. Okay, what can you see here? I have grandma is telling a story to his grandsons and granddaughters. Okay, this act of telling the story we call it oral tradition. Okay, oral tradition. It is the act or tradition of telling the story. Before the invention of television, people used to tell a story about their culture and tradition. And these stories were passed down from generation to generation. Okay? This act we call it as oral tradition. Oral tradition, it means that you are telling stories about culture and traditions. And these traditions were passed from one generation to generation. Okay, here I have one kind of the folk tales. It is the Arabian folk tales. Okay, Arabian folk tales. It is some kind of stories that tell of bravery, wisdom, and kindness. Okay, these stories are about wise men, magical happening, and talking animal. Many stories teach important lesson. Okay, about what? About the truth, honesty, and patience. Okay, this is famous story Arabian folk tales. It folk tales. They are stories about bravery, wisdom, and kindness. And the story maybe tell you about wise men, magical happening, and talking animals. Okay, in Al Islam, I have the magical, I have the in Al Islam, I have the Islamic legend. Okay, in Al Islam, I have the Islamic legend. Okay, they are stories of prophets and brave Muslims. Okay, if you read Al Quran, you will see that I have a lot of stories about the prophet. This kind of stories we call it as Islamic legend. Okay, about what? About who? About prophet, about a brave Muslim, and Allah mentioned them in Quran. Allah mentioned them in Al Quran, and I have a lot of stories about them. So, okay, but the stories of Allah in Al Quran we call it are the miracles. Okay, miracles. Miracle. Okay, in Arabic we say it al majizat. Yes, these stories are an important part of our culture. Okay, because it tells. Okay, this story are tell about what? About the culture, about the prophet of us. Yes, and what happened to the prophet. Okay, I have here two examples about this kind of story. Okay, I have the story of Prophet Ibrahim and what happened to Prophet Ibrahim. Here I have the legend. Okay, I will tell you this story. Most of the prophet Canaan in Canaan worship. It means in Canaan. Okay, worshipped idols. Do you know what are the idols? The idols are false god, sometimes in the form of statue. Okay, okay. The people of Mecca they used to make idols by date. Okay, by date. Okay, but when they feel hungry, they start to eat it. Okay, the legend of Prophet Ibrahim. Most of the people in Canaan worshipped idols, but Prophet Ibrahim didn't. Prophet Ibrahim was a real and true believer. He asked the people all the time to stop worshipping worshipping idols, but they laughed at him and refused to accept the message of Allah. Okay, one day he took an axe and chopped off the idol's heads. The people came angry and they decided that Ibrahim should be burned to death. They collected wood and started a huge fire in a pit. Prophet Ibrahim was thrown into the fire. Everyone expected him to burn to death. However, everyone was shocked to see that Prophet Ibrahim survived the fire, emerging from the flames with no trace of smoke on his clothes, as only his chain were burned. Allah Almighty protected him because he was a true believer. The people of Canaan fell to their knees because they had seen a miracle of Allah. Again, did you see how Prophet Ibrahim, as you know, the Prophet of Allah, he was a real and true believer, all the time asked people to stop worshipping in idols, and they didn't accept his word, and all the time love. Okay, so one day, he took an axe and started to destroy the idol. He destroyed the idol heads, and the people of his country, they decided to punish him. Okay, they what they do, they put him in a huge fire and they wanted to burn him. But Allah protected Ibrahim, and he survived the fire. He survived the fire, and this is considered one of Allah's miracle. Okay, now here I have a famous story about Prophet Musa. Musa also was a prophet of Allah, and his people also, as almost of the prophet's people, refused to accept the word of Allah and refused to be in al-Islam. During the time of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, a wicked Pharaoh ruled Egypt. Pharaohs were the ruler of Egypt. Okay, he wanted people to worship Allah. Pharaoh wanted people to worship him, but Prophet Musa asked people to what? And the Pharaoh to accepted Allah's message, which was Islam. The Pharaoh refused. The Pharaoh's magicians challenged Prophet Musa to defeat their magic. And they cornered him in the public square. The magician threw down pieces of rope. The rope pieces started to move like snakes, but the snakes were not real. Prophet Musa came forward and by Allah's command, and he started to throw down his cane, and it turned into a real snake. The snake ate the pieces of rope, and the magicians and the people were shocked. Okay, what happened? They fell to the ground and what? And asked for forgiveness. And after that, they accepted Allah's message. This is considered, the two legends are the legend of Allah, or we call it as miracles. Okay, miracles.